In this video, we are going to go over a mech which is fielded almost exclusively with the Free Worlds League, and is the primary heavy scout of the League during the Succession Wars. The Battlemech in question is Irian Unlimited's economic lifeline, the Hermes II. A medium mech weighing in at 40 tons, the Hermes II is one of the most plentiful mechs deployed by the Free Worlds League military, and its affiliated militias as well as mercenary units. Designed by Irian Unlimited to frankly be one of the most mass-produced medium mechs possible, it filled this role well, as it came into production in 2798, beginning to fill vital mech orders at the height of the Succession Wars, and in significant numbers. The factory on Irian would even be destroyed in the 3020s, and despite this, the ability to spin up a new factory and restore the old one put the unit back into production only 3 years later. For a Battlemech factory, this is exceptional, and points to the incredible strength for this unit in terms of its logistical capabilities. The design was based on the Hermes I, a light scout mech, ergo the name Hermes II, reflecting its change and increased weight. The Hermes II itself in many ways is an exceptional machine from its inception despite what one may see at first glance. It would see itself fight across the horrors of the Third and Fourth Succession Wars and the War of 3039, the vicious fighting of the Chaos Marches, and into the madness of the Blakest assaults on the Inner Sphere. Now, the Hermes II in its newest modifications still fights in the year 3152, waging wars against the Marian hegemony and rolling back the Wolf Empire's occupation of the Marik Stewart Commonwealth. Originally envisioned as a heavy scout, the Hermes II does this exceptionally well for a myriad number of reasons. It is also armored and armed enough that in a pinch, or if other mechs are not available, it can at least perform medium frontline mech duties during the Succession Wars. The HER-2S is the primary model produced through this period and would come standard with a Hermes 240 engine, which yields at a maximum speed of 97 km per hour, or 9 movement points in the tabletop game. This speed is adequate for a scout of its weight class and provides it with the mobility required to fight heavier opponents if needed, though it lacks jump jets, hindering its maneuverability. It comes with 10 standard heat sinks, as no more are needed for its design to keep costs low. For the naked eye, the Hermes II seems to be undergunned, having a reliable Orient AC5 autocannon and a standard IWW medium laser, offering it hitting power at long and short range, albeit not the most impressive amounts. What is more interesting is the Olympian Flamethrower, which gives it a horrifying anti-infantry ability, but what is overlooked is how it is used otherwise. If the Hermes is in a wooded area or city, and appears to be in trouble or is outnumbered, the most common tactic is to use the flamethrower to ignite the surrounding area to harm enemy sensors and tracking, as well as to harm their heat-sinking abilities, before it uses the obscuring effect to remove itself from the situation. Finally, we get to the most impressive feat of this 40-ton warrior. This recon mech has a total of 7.5 tons of standard armor, giving it a durability that its counterparts in weight, and scout mechs that are smaller in size, could only dream of, allowing it to take fire from even heavy mechs and live to tell the tale, a vital ability for either of its main roles. The HER-2S is, despite initial appearances, one of the most reliable and exceptional recon mechs of the Succession Wars, and can fill in as a reliable stand-in for other duties competently, though not exceptionally. The fact it was designed and produced in huge numbers during the Succession Wars is even more impressive, as this is an era often of stepping backwards, and the HER-2S is no step backwards. Much like all other mechs as well, there is a series of alternative configurations that appear from the time of its introduction all the way through to the nightmare of the clan wars of the 3130s to 3150s. The HER-2M is another domestic variant of the HER series, and was produced in 2802. This version of the unit was designed to be stealthier, faster, and operate the mech in support of intelligence assets. It achieves this through increasing the size of the engine to the VOX 280 and removing the AC-5 autocannon in response. It also has an additional 2 medium lasers for anti-mech capabilities in close, and an additional 2 machine guns, making it one of the best mechs during the Succession Wars for dealing with infantry, combining twin machine guns with the still horrifying Olympian Flamethrower. This version of the Hermes would prove itself to be a capable machine, though it wasn't produced in large quantities like its primary counterpart, the HCR-2S. During 3050, the Hermes would be retrofitted with new technology, becoming the HCR-5S. The chassis would be upgraded to utilize endo steel to save weight, and allow it to install the Imperator Ultra AC-5 autocannon, as well as installing a medium pulse laser. Most impressively, it was given an upgrade to the double heat sinks, allowing it to sink far more heat than needed. This was actually due to the idea that the HCR-5S could take a major engine hit and still continue to operate without much of a hindrance, letting the pilot perform in dire circumstances if needed. Overall, it's not an incredible achievement over the original design, but it is an improvement and one that has merits given to it by its pilots, especially in dangerous situations. The last variant of note, built in large quantities, was the export model which would appear in the Federated Suns, specifically the Davion Light Guards. It would hold an ER medium laser and a rotary AC-5, though with limited ammunition. Though this version performs well and it has the most abundant amount of firepower of a mainstream HER design, it's unfortunately limited by its ammunition and can be dealt with easily should ammunition run out. The Hermes has an abundance of strengths, especially during the era of its conception, and has far more virtues than one may see on the surface level. Exceptionally armored, durable, fast, and able to fight at long and close ranges, as well as the ability to hunt down and destroy other light recon mechs with some ease, the Hermes II can perform every role asked of it to an acceptable degree. The primary weakness of the Hermes, however, is that its overall firepower is barely adequate. The AC-5 and even the Ultra AC-5 in the Hermes 5S are not the most powerful weapon assets available, and though they are plentiful and relatively cheap to install, they are limited in their capabilities. Later versions may suffer severe shortages of ammunition, reducing their effectiveness as scouts in protracted scenarios. A workhorse of a battlemech, often overlooked and underestimated, the Hermes II may be one of the most effective 40-ton mechs of its era, and is a reasonable machine for the eras that follow. Though there is another term that can be equally terrifying when facing off against an FWLM unit that is properly outfitted with a legion of these machines at their disposal. Quantity as a quality all of its own. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. With that, I will catch you in the comments section below.